Okay, good day to all science students. In this video lesson, we are going to tackle about the different types of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, the most simplest and most primitive method of reproduction, involves a single parent and produces a clone, an organism that is genetically identical to the parent. A parent passes all of its genetic material to the next generation. All prokaryotic and some eukaryotic organisms reproduce asexually. Okay, for types of asexual reproduction, letter A, binary fission. Binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction wherein a cell divides to produce two identical cells. Each of these two cells has the potential to grow to the size of the original cell. Almost all prokaryotes undergo a type of asexual reproduction called binary fission. Binary fission is very similar to the process of mitosis in eukaryotes. However, since there is no nucleus and the DNA in a prokaryote is usually just in a single ring, it is not as complex as mitosis. Binary fission starts with a single cell that copies its DNA and then splits into two identical cells. Okay, this is the process of the binary fission. For the first one, chromosome duplicated. For the step 2 to 4, chromosome segregating. And step 5, septum forms in the middle of the cell. And then number 6, two cells are produced. Okay, let us watch this video.
Most bacteria reproduce by a process called binary fission. During binary fission, the parental cell divides to form two daughter cells. In the first step of binary fission, the bacterium replicates or copies its chromosome and attaches each identical copy to a separate location on the cell membrane. Unlike eukaryotic cells, bacteria do not need to dissolve a nuclear membrane or assemble a mitotic spindle, making binary fission very quick and efficient. Second, the cell elongates. Since the chromosomes are attached to different locations on the cell membrane, they separate from one another. Third, the bacterium pinches off at the center and forms a septum, a separating wall between the two compartments of the cell. Finally, the cell splits into two new daughter cells. These daughter cells are fully mature bacteria that can grow and, if conditions are right, continue the binary fission process.
So another type of asexual reproduction is called budding. Budding is when a new organism or the offspring grows off the side of the adult through a part called a bud. The new baby will stay attached to the original adult until it reaches maturity, at which point it breaks off and becomes its own independent organism. A single adult can have many buds and many offspring at the same time. We have the stages of budding and hydra. Number 1, the hydra prior to the bud formation, 2 to 4 bud growing out, and then 5 daughter hydra detaches by cleaving. And number 6, new hydra that is clone of the parent. Letter C, fragmentation. Some species are designed to have many viable parts that can live independently found on one individual. This species can undergo a type of asexual reproduction known as fragmentation. Fragmentation happens when a piece of an individual breaks off and a brand new organism forms around that broken piece. The original organism also regenerates the piece that broke off. The piece may be broken off naturally or could be broken off during an injury or other life-threatening situation. So, panoorin po natin itong sunod na video paano ba nag-on or nag-undergo ng fragmentation itong starfish. So, letter D, spore formation or sporogenesis. So, spore formation or sporogenesis is a form of asexual reproduction that involves spores. Spores from spora meaning seed and genesis meaning birth or origin are dormant reproductive cells that are similar to seeds by serving as dispersal units. The spores, though aren't seeds in a way that they lack the embryo produced by the fusion of male and female gametes, spores are thick-walled and highly resistant to unfavorable conditions like high temperatures and low humidity. When the conditions are suitable, they germinate to give rise to new individuals. Vascular plants and fungi are examples of asexual organisms that reproduce by spore formation. Okay, we have letter E, the parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis from Greek parthenus meaning virgin and genesis meaning birth, creation, origin, is when an offspring comes from an unfertilized egg, lack of available partners, an immediate threat to the female's life, or others. Such trauma may result in parthenogenesis being necessary to continue the species. This is not ideal, of course, because it will only produce female offspring, since the baby will be a clone of the mother. that will not fix the issue of lack of mates or carrying on the species for an indefinite period of time. Some animals that can undergo parthenogenesis include insects like bees and grasshoppers, lizards such as Komodo dragon, and very rarely in birds.
Making a baby by yourself is possible. At least for species such as stick insect, hammerhead sharks, turkeys who don't necessarily need a male to reproduce. This is what we call parthenogenesis. It's most common amongst insects such as bees, where a fertilized egg produces a female and unfertilized egg produces a male. But we also find it in some vertebrates. Whip-tailed lizards, for instance, have no male. The females have evolved in such a way as to contain all the genetic materials needed to reproduce. In other species, male-free reproduction isn't obligatory, but can happen when there is no alternative. In 2006, Flora, a female Komodo dragon, had 5 babies without ever coming in contact with a male. In mammals, however, a complete and natural parthenogenesis seems impossible. Thanks for watching.
Okay, letter F, we have the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is a form of asexual reproduction in plants. It is when a new plant emerges from vegetative parts such as specialized stems, leaves, and roots. Then they form their root system and grow. The horticulturists use this form of reproduction in propagating economically important plants. The process does not involve pollination. Rather, new plants are grown from vegetative parts with specialized reproductive function. Many forms of vegetative propagation can be classified into 2 major types. We have the natural means and artificial means. Example of natural means are those emerging from runners, stolons, bulbs or tubers, corms, suckers, and plantlets. As for artificial means, examples arise from cutting, grafting, layering, tissue culture, and offset. Vegetative propagation occurs when an axillary buds grows into a lateral shoot and develop its roots, also known as adventitious roots. Plant structures allowing natural vegetative propagation includes bulbs, rhizomes, stolons, and tubers. Bulbs such as daffodils form lateral buds from the base of the mother bulb, which produce new smaller bulbs or bulbels in subsequent years. We have rhizomes, another natural vegetative propagation. Rhizomes are root-like stems that grow horizontally under the ground. New roots and shoots form at the nodes, with shoots growing upward to form new plantlets. Lateral buds grow out to form new rhizomes. Example includes iris and root ginger. Also the bamboo and then the bearded iris. Another natural vegetative propagation, we have the stolons or the runners. Stolons or runners are horizontal stems that grow above the ground. For example, strawberries. Tiny plantlets form along the stolons and roots form where they touch the ground. The new plant becomes independent when the connection with the parent plant breaks. So locally, yung tinatawag natin na gabi or yung natong, example of runners. Okay, tubers. Tubers are swollen portion of an underground stem that store food so a plant can lie dormant over the winter. For example, potatoes, axillary buds, commonly known as eyes, form over the surface of that tuber and produce shoots that grow into a new plant the following year. And also the sweet potato or the kamote. Artificial vegetative propagation. Horticulturists and gardeners also use vegetative propagation methods that plants don't use naturally. This method involves taking a piece of one parent plant and causing it to regenerate itself into a new plant. So we have grafting. Grafting has long been used to produce novel varieties of roses, citrus species, and other plants. In grafting, 2 plant species are used. Part of the stem of the desirable plant is grafted into rooted plant called the stalk. The part that is grafted or attached is called the scion. Both are cut at an oblique angle, any angle other than right angle, placed in close contact with each other and are then held together. The vascular system of 2 plants grow and fuse, forming a graft. After a period of time, the scion starts producing shoots and eventually starts bearing flowers and fruits. Grafting is widely used in viticulture or grape growing and the citrus industry. Scions capable of producing a particular fruit variety are grated onto rootstock with specific resistance to disease. Okay, this is an example of grafting. special method of asexual reproduction used to produce plants combining favorable stem characteristics with favorable root characteristics. The stem of the plant to be grafted is known as cutting. Another one. A cutting is a piece that has been cut off a mother plant and then caused to grow into a whole plant. Often this involves a piece of stem that is treated with hormones to encourage new roots to form before planting. Sometimes root cuttings with buds stem will produce new shoots when pressed directly into the soil. Layering is a method in which a stem attached to the plant is bent and covered with soil. Young stems that can be bent easily without any injury are preferred. So jasmine and bougainvillea or the paper flower can be propagated this way. In some plants, a modified form of layering known as air layering is employed. A portion of the bark or outermost covering of the stem is removed and covered with moss, which is then taped. Some gardeners also apply rooting hormones. After some time, roots will appear, and this portion of the plant can be removed and transplanted into a separated pot. We have also plant tissue culture or micropropagation. Micropropagation, also called plant tissue culture, is a method of propagating a large number of plants from a single plant in a short time under laboratory conditions. This method allows the propagation of rare endangered species that may be difficult to grow under natural conditions, are economically important, or are in demand as disease-free plants. A part of the plant, such as stem, leaf, embryo, anther, or seed, can be used to start plant tissue culture. The plant materials is thoroughly sterilized using a combination of chemical treatments standardized for that species. Other sterile conditions, the plant material is placed on a tissue or plant tissue culture medium that contains all the minerals, vitamins, and hormones required by the plant.